There are stories the world celebrates, tales of wealth, luxury, and power. But behind those headlines, there are stories no one talks about. Stories about cold nights, missed meals, crushing debt, and the stubborn refusal to quit. Today on Money and Legacy, you're going to hear one of those rare stories. The journey of a man who went from having nothing at all to becoming a billionaire. Not through luck. Not through inheritance. But through relentless grit, smart decisions, and an unshakable belief in what was possible. He was born in a small industrial town. The air was heavy with the smell of oil and smoke from the factories that kept the place alive. His father was a factory mechanic, his mother a school librarian. They lived paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes even that wasn't enough. There were no vacations, no luxuries. Just hard work and the hope that tomorrow would be a little easier than today. While most kids spent their afternoons playing outside, he spent hours in the library, flipping through books about inventions, businesses, and the lives of great leaders. He was curious about how the world worked and how people built things from nothing. That curiosity would become his greatest asset. At 14, he found his first taste of business. Using old parts from discarded electronics, he built small gadgets and repaired broken ones. Desk fans, watches, calculators, anything he could get his hands on. He sold them to classmates for a few dollars each. It wasn't much, but it was proof that money could be made without asking someone for a job. That idea stuck with him. When he turned 18, he left home for college, the first in his family to do so. It was a proud moment, but it came with a price. Tuition was expensive, and the part-time jobs he could find barely covered rent and food. Every semester, the debt grew. And then, in his second year, life threw him a devastating blow. His father fell seriously ill. The family needed money for treatment, and he made the difficult decision to drop out of college to work full-time. For 2 years, he took whatever work he could find: warehouse labor, night shifts at gas stations, repairing electronics at home. He sent most of his earnings back to his family. But no matter how many hours he worked, it was never enough. He was exhausted, broke, and trapped in a cycle that seemed unbreakable. One night, after a 12-hour shift, he sat in his small apartment eating cold leftovers. His hands were calloused, his back ached, and his bank account was almost empty. He thought about his life, his future, and how little control he had. And then, he made a decision that would change everything. He would stop working for someone else's dream. He would build something of his own, no matter how long it took or how impossible it seemed. With $300 saved from months of work, he bought a used laptop and a second-hand smartphone. He taught himself coding through free online courses. He studied e-commerce, digital marketing, and product design. Every night, he worked for hours, often until the sun came up. He had no mentor, no roadmap, just the belief that if he learned enough, he could build something valuable. The breakthrough came when he found a niche product that solved a simple but common problem. He built a basic online store, took the product photos himself, and launched a small advertising campaign. The first week, he made $50 in profit. The second week, $200. By the third month, he was earning more from the store than from his day job. And here's where most people would start spending. New car, better apartment, nicer clothes. But not him. He reinvested every single dollar back into his business. Better inventory, faster shipping, new products, bigger ad budgets. He built a small team, hiring people who were smarter than him in areas like marketing, operations, and design. His focus was simple: scale the business, build the brand, and keep learning. 5 years later, his store had become a household name in its niche. Orders came from across the country, and eventually from around the world. He expanded into multiple product categories and launched new brands. He diversified into technology, consumer goods, and even renewable energy projects. By the 10th year, his empire spanned continents. When his company went public, the valuation crossed $1.3 billion. Overnight, he joined the Billionaires Club. But if you ask him, the number wasn't the real victory. The real victory was proving to himself, and to everyone who doubted him, that your beginnings don't define your ending. With his wealth, he didn't just buy yachts or mansions. He funded scholarships for underprivileged students. He invested in young entrepreneurs with big ideas but no capital. He built community centers in the very town where he grew up. He knew that real wealth wasn't measured by what you kept, but by what you gave away. If you're inspired by this journey and you want more stories that show you exactly how people build their fortunes from scratch, hit the like button, subscribe to Money and Legacy, and tell us in the comments what your first step toward financial freedom will be. When people ask him for advice, he always comes back to the same 5 points. Start with what you have, even if it's little. Learn skills the world will pay for. Reinvest your profits instead of spending them. Build systems so your business runs without you. And when you've made it, give back. Because the greatest legacy you can leave is not the wealth you build, but the lives you change along the way. His story is a reminder that you don't need wealth to start, and you don't need permission to dream big. You just need the courage to begin, the patience to keep going, and the discipline to reinvest in your vision. And maybe one day, your journey will be the story we tell here on Money and Legacy.